Okay, hi everybody. This is Michael Reeves, and tonight we are going to be broadcasting a Stratomatic playoff game. This is Summer Sprint. This is the brainchild of uh, I'm assuming Dennis Crowley. He's the one who put this one together. This is a little, what you call a tie me over league until the fall season begins. And in Stratomatic, that means the fall football cards are coming out, which should be, I believe, very soon. Maybe even as early as this week. And the new game will be released as well. And that means that all of us who are in draft leagues will soon be drafting our teams in the Samifa family of leagues and Autumn Wind as well. But today we are watching Summer Sprint. And Summer Sprint is a 24-team league. It is a draft league, but it's different. We draft units, basically running back sets, offensive line sets, quarterback sets, defensive back sets, linebacker sets, things like that. It's a full draft, 24-team league. And tonight we are watching Pittsburgh and Southern California. Southern California is coached by James Riley, and Ron Martin coaches the Steelers. And as the game progresses, we'll get a chance to take a look at the talent that's on both of these teams and the records that both of these clubs had to give here. This is a quarterfinal matchup. I believe there are 8 teams who qualified for the playoffs. And so we will get started. And the Southern California, I believe they're the Sun. Let's take a look at this here real quick. Make sure we get this right. Coached by James Riley. Yep, Southern California Sun. Again, James Riley. And his team is led by Mike Morosky. I believe that's the Houston Oilers quarterback. Probably not a name that most NFL fans would know, but he had a very good strat card, and so that's why he's starting him. Now, as wide receivers, you may know a little bit more about that. That's Irving Fryer there in the slot, along with Chris Carter on the right and Kevin House on the left. Actually, that's Greg Carter. I'm sorry. So he has Tampa Bay's wide receivers. He also has New England special teams unit. That's how he was able to grab Irving Fryer. That's Gary Ellis of the Green Bay Packers in the backfield, and that's Todd Christensen, the former Oakland Raider, at tight end. So as we join this game, we're just a little bit over a minute and a half in the first quarter. And this is the Southern California Sun, 3rd and 6, ball at their own 34. Again, that's Mike Morosky under center. Here comes an inside run to Gary Ellis, and it's called right, and he is stopped in the backfield for a loss of 1, and that will force the Sun to punt to the Steelers, again, coached by Ron Martin. We'll go to the site here real quick and see what we can find out about both of these two teams. So both teams look like they have to take a break here. So we'll take a look at the standings here real fast. Southern California finished the season 12-4, tied for second with 2 other teams in the league, and that would be the Maine Chiefs and the Seattle Shuriken. I heard Tom call that. I've already butchered it. So there comes mistake number 1. Speaking of Tom, his team was the Lincoln County Letterman, who finished with 13 wins. So Lincoln County with 13 wins, Southern California, Maine, and Seattle with 12. The Jersey Rebels finished 11-5. Pittsburgh, Southern California's opposition today, finished 10-6. And I believe East Rock was the 8th and final team to qualify at 9-7. Actually, that's not true. Alexandria as well. So East Rock and Alexandria had 9 wins apiece. Pittsburgh with 10. Jersey 11, Seattle, Maine, and Southern California 12, and Lincoln County 13. So Southern California with the ball on their own 33, 4th and 7, and they're going to punt. And that is Jeff Gossett, 43-yard kick. There will be no return. The ball will be downed at the Pittsburgh 18, where they will take over 1st and 10. Again, you see the black and gold of Pittsburgh. I'm not sure if they even have any Steelers on this team. By the looks of it, that is Bill Kenny, former Kansas City Chief, under center. That's Ernest Biner at halfback, Steve Sewell, the Denver Bronco, at fullback. That's Andre Reed split to the left. Let's see who that is. Well, that is Billy White Shoes Johnson. He must have gotten him off the special teams. And I don't know who the tight end is. That is James Wright. I believe he's a Denver Bronco. So on 1st down, here comes a bomb immediately to Andre Reed, but the pass falls incomplete. And that'll bring up 2nd down and 10. Looking at Bill Kinney's card. He just has a so-so card throwing deep, if guessed right or wrong, as a matter of fact, where his strength is short passes. Looks like to me that's a pretty strong passing card. Looks pretty good actually from the flat pass perspective as well, but he tested him deep on 1st down. No problem putting your toe in the water on 1st down. So this is Ron Martin's Pittsburgh Steelers, who finished 10-6 in summer sprints. We are using the 1985 card set, and that would be the Super Bowl Shuffle Chicago Bear 15-1 club that beat the New England Patriots for the Super Bowl title. On 2nd down, here comes another bomb to Andre Reed, and this time it is intercepted. So Southern California intercepts it at the 50 and brings it back to the Pittsburgh 38. And that pass was picked off by Frank Minifield, the former Cleveland Brown. So it looks like Southern California must have the Cleveland Browns secondary. We'll take a look at the defenses here in just a moment. But the first break of the game goes to Southern California. Pittsburgh opens up with 2 bombs to Andre Reed. The first ball is incomplete. The second is picked off by Frank Minifield. Southern California has the ball, 1st and 10 at the Steelers 38. Morosky under center. Here comes a slant pass. It's guessed correctly. It's headed for Todd Christensen. And that pass is going to be picked off. So on consecutive plays, we have interceptions. Pittsburgh will bring this one back to the original line of scrimmage to the 38-yard line. That pass was picked off by Cowboy Emerson Walls. So on 2 consecutive plays, we have 2 interceptions. That was a slant pattern. Morosky could not find the target, and instead Emerson Walls with the interception. So both teams have traded turnovers. Pittsburgh once again will have the ball at their 38-yard line. No score. We're only 3 minutes into the first quarter of this summer sprint playoff game. The winner will head to the Final Four. Again, there were 8 teams who qualified in this. This is I said this wrong, actually. This is I believe it's a 17-team league. Let's see. I have to take a look at this one. It is. It's a 17-team league, so every team played the other team. Every team played every team at one time, basically. So 16 games, 17 teams. Teams with winning records qualified, and that's why we see Pittsburgh here at 10-6. Pittsburgh with a ball on their own 42, that run by Ernest Biner. His first carry of the game, I believe. Here comes a button hook to Curtis Dickey, but that pass falls incomplete. 2 men in the zone on that play, so we have 3rd down and 6. Kearney is unsuccessful in his first 3 throws. 2 of them have been bombs. 1 of them was picked off. The third was a look-in pass with 2 linebackers in the zone. So early jitters for the Steelers. Let's see if they can convert their first down of the game. 3 wide. That's Jerry Butler. Here comes a short pass to Sewell, and that pass falls incomplete. So Kenny has not been able to connect on his first 4 attempts, and the Steelers will punt. Harry Newsom's kick, 43 yards. It is returnable. And this is the very dangerous Irving Fryer, who has a touchdown on his card, but this time he calls for a fair catch. So Southern California will take over at their own 15. Looking at the numbers, Southern California had the stingiest defense in the entire league, allowing only 190 points. Every other team in the league surrendered 200. In fact, looking here, 222 seems to be the team in second place, so a stingy defense. That first pass falls incomplete. They also scored 366 points, which also puts them up in the top 5. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, let's see. Again, 10-6 club for Ron Martin. 333, that's up in the upper half of the league in points scored. 258, that's pretty much in the middle. So only 190 points allowed for Southern California in this campaign. Summer Sprint, again, the 1985 card set. Second down and 10. And that's a run for Gary Ellison, and he loses a yard, so that will bring up third down and 11. Southern California deep in their own territory at their own 14. No score, 9 minutes in the first quarter. So we're waiting the play call here. It's third down, the 3 wide set. Morosky in the shotgun. Here comes a screen pass to Ellis. It's guessed wrong, and Ellis is going to pick up 11 yards on the screen pass. It's guessed right, but nobody was there. The flat pass zone was vacated, so it's guessed wrong. 11 yards for Gary Ellis, and that will bring up a 1st and 10. So they convert deep in their own territory on 3rd and 11. Here comes a run. This time it's to Ellis, and Ellis will not pick up anything on that play. Offensive center 3 or 0 rating, and the dice came up 6. And the center is a 5. So no gain on the play. Second down and 10. Comes a hitch pass. This one to Tampa Bay Buccaneer Kevin House. He picks up 5, and that'll bring up third down. Ball at the 30. So third down and 5. Pro set formation. That's Ellison and Ellis. In the backfield, Morosky under center. Kevin House split to the left. Irving Fryer split to the right. An off-tackle run to Gary Ellis. Defense guesses pass. No linebackers in the zone, and Ellis is going to pick up 8 yards on the play, and it's another first down. So Ellis has converted the last 2 first downs, this time on a run, the last time on a screen pass. So Southern California slowly moving the ball up the field. This drive started at their own 15-yard line. Now they have the ball at their own 38. Here comes a pitch to Eddie Lee Ivory, and he's going to pick up some good yards on this. Defense guessed pass, 15-yard pickup for Eddie Lee Ivory. And move the chains, and now Southern California has made their way into Steelers territory. Ball at the Steeler 47. We have 6 minutes to play in this summer sprint quarterfinal playoff game. Morosky's going to throw deep on this one, and it falls incomplete. It was very close to being his second pickoff of the quarter. But the pass does fall incomplete. Morosky this year threw for 2,700 yards in the league. That was good for 10th. Here comes a pitch to Gary Ellison, and another nice pickup. Defense guesses pass, and Ellison's going to pick up 12 on this play. Green Bay Packer running backs. They rotate with Eddie Lee Ivory, Gary Ellis, and Gary Ellison. And it was a good set. It was a nice pickup by Southern California. And it's paying dividends early as they move the chains once again. Ball at the Pittsburgh 35. Here comes a quick out to Christensen. And Christensen will pick up 6 on the play. Morosky 3 of 7 early for 22 yards and an interception. Southern California has done most of their damage on the ground. And speaking of which, here comes Eddie Lee Ivory, and Eddie Lee Ivory is going to bust this one through the middle and a big pickup of 20 yards. So that's 3 long carries, double-digit carries on this drive for Southern California. And they're in excellent shape now at the Steelers' 9-yard line. 1st and goal to go. Ivory, 2 carries, 35 yards so far. But he's out for this play. That's Gary Ellis, and that is, I think that's Jerry. No, it's Gary Ellison. Ellis and Ellison. In the backfield, Morosky under center. Here comes a pitch to Ellison. This time it's guessed correctly. There is one linebacker in the zone, and it's going to be snuffed for a 3-yard loss. The linebacker in the zone was a 6 on that play, and he was able to make the play as the die was a 6. It wouldn't have picked up much anyway. It would have been a 2-yard gain, but 3-yard loss. That puts the ball back at the 12, but it does put the flat pass option back into play. So they came out with a 3-wide set. Haven't seen that much in the first quarter. Got some weapons over there. Kevin House, Irving Fryer, Todd Christensen especially. Defense guesses run. The pass is going to go to Irving Fryer, and he's going to pick up 9 yards. Wow, that could have been much worse. 9-yard pickup for Irving Fryer. Now it's 3rd and goal. Ball at the 3. I'd say they dodged a bullet there, actually. If that's in the receiver card, that's going to be a touchdown. I'm betting. Maybe wrong. Have to take a look at Fryer's card here in just a moment. Waiting to see here. Let's full house backfield, and that's Todd Christensen, and I believe that's Todd Junkin on the left. And here comes a pitch to Ivory. The defense does guess run. Play is guessed right. Let's see what he gets. He gets no gain. So, 4th down ball at the 3. Will Southern California settle for a field goal or try to punch this one in from 3 yards out? Let's see if they'll just settle to put some points on the board and take this early lead. They will. And this would be Matt Barr. And Matt Barr, from 20 yards out, shanks it. Wide left. Bad break for Southern California, who drove the ball all the way down the field, starting from their own 15, made their way to the 3-yard line of Pittsburgh, but Matt Barr cannot convert on a 20-yard field goal. Wide left. Amazing how good the kickers are in today's NFL. If you look at these kickers through the years, the accuracy just wasn't there. Even simple kicks on your 3 to 12 on your card, basically, just the simplest of kicks. So many are shanked. Just amazing. Absolutely amazing how accurate they are today, or maybe how inaccurate they were back in the day. Well, anyway, Pittsburgh is happy to have that favor. With 2:06, they're going to take over at their own 20. No score in this summer sprint playoff game. We are using the 1985 cards. Bill Kinney is under center for the 10-6 Steelers, coached by Ron Martin. And Kinney's pass, this one was intended for Billy White Shoes Johnson, the ageless Billy White Shoes Johnson. I believe he would have been an Atlanta Falcon at this time. He's picked up on special teams, and they used him as a wide receiver. Ron Martin decided to put him in a wide receiver role and split him opposite Andre Reed, along with Jerry Butler. And that pass falls incomplete. Kinney is off to a very rough start, 0 for 5. The only pass he completed was to the opposition, to Dirk Minifield. 0 for 5 with an interception. Second down and 10. Ball at the 20. And there's another incompletion, 3rd and 10. This is not at all indicative of Kinney's season. According to the stats here, he threw for 3,700 yards. He led the league. He also had 26 touchdown passes. And that was good for 2nd in the league. So not at all what Ron Martin was hoping for in the first quarter, but there is no score in this game after Southern California's Matt Barr chunked a 20-yard field goal. And there's his first completed pass of the game. That's a 14-yard completion to Andre Reed. So Kinney has his first completion, and Pittsburgh has a first down at their own 34. Just under a minute to play. No score for Southern California. And Ron Martin on offense with his Pittsburgh Steelers. Bill Kinney finally completing his first pass of the game. He's 1 for 7. This will be the 3rd bomb he has thrown to Andre Reed. And that pass is going to fall incomplete. So no dice for Ron Martin there. And that'll bring up 2nd down and 10. Southern California, 12-4 heading into this game, is coached by James Riley. Both of these two are veteran strat coaches. They're in multiple leagues. This is just a fun league to have in the summer. We drain the season cards. There are fall leagues, there are spring leagues, and after a while, you just get sick of seeing the same cards over and over and over again. Right now, many of those leagues are in the last hurrah of their playoffs, and we will put them back in the box, probably not to be played again, maybe until 20 years from now, God willing. Second down and 10. That's Steve Sewell up the middle, and that is no gain. So Southern California, with the stingiest defense in the league, the fewest points allowed, and Ron Martin's having a hard time figuring them out. Kenny is not helping him out at all, but they've only managed one first down. Third and 10, ball at their own 34 as we start the second quarter. No score. Southern California comes out in a 3-3-5, and when you see a 0 on the field, you can pretty much bet your bottom dollar that guy's going to be a pass rusher, and he is. And he is, and I'm sorry we just missed that animation, but that was a sack, and he was sacked by Bill Pickell. Wow, there's your name. Boy, I'll tell you what, this is like bringing out your old football cards. So Bill Pickell makes the sack. It's only a 3-yard loss, but it does bring up a fourth down, so Pittsburgh is forced to punt. And that's Harry Newsome standing at his own 16. Irving Fryer is waiting for this punt, as are all of us. And here comes that kick, and that is Irving Fryer, who will take it at his own 24. Not much of a return. He does pick up 4, so Southern California will take over at their own 30. Again, that's Mike Morosky under center. He has Irving Fryer and Kevin House as his wideouts. That's Todd Christensen, the former longtime Raider. And he has a plethora of Packers in the backfield. We'll see Eddie Lee Ivory, Gary Ellis, and Gary Ellison. And on this play, we see a quick in pass to Gary Ellison. It is guessed correctly. That pass is going to fall incomplete. Just over a minute played in the second quarter. Southern California 12-4 against the Pittsburgh Steelers 10-6. This is a draft league, and we are playing with the 1985 card set. Mike Morosky from the Houston Oilers under center. He, like his counterpart Bill Kenny, also has not had a great start to this game. He's 4 of 9 for only 31 yards. Here comes a pass to Kevin House, and he's successfully double-teamed by Pittsburgh. Nice call by Ron Martin. The pass falls incomplete, and that'll bring up 3rd and 10. So both of these offenses right now are stuck in first gear, but again, a lot of that has to do with some solid defense. Southern California known for that solid defense. Southern California drove all the way to the Pittsburgh 3. The Steelers bent, but they did not break, and Matt Barr was unable to convert on a simple 20-yard field goal that he hooked left, and that's where we find ourselves now, 0-0, with just over a minute played here in the second quarter in this summer sprint quarterfinals. I believe all the other 3 playoff games have been played. On 3rd down, here comes a pass to Gary Ellis. Both wide receivers are double teamed, but Ellis is not, and he's going to make another catch for 11 yards. How about that? Ellis with his second first down conversion on a pass. So Morosky rolls boxcars and gets a first down. 11-yard completion to Gary Ellis. Ball at their own 41. Here's an off-tackle run to Eddie Lee Ivory. It's guessed right and a no gain. Nice call by Ron Martin. Second down for James Riley and his Southern California son. They finished 12-4 in the Summer Sprint League this year. Pittsburgh and Ron Martin, 10-6. Here comes a pitch to Ellison and another short gain roll for the three-headed monster Green Bay Packer running back rotation. Gary Ellison picks up 16 yards, and that will once again push the Sun into Steelers territory. They have the ball at the Pittsburgh 43. 12 minutes to play here in the second quarter. No score. So James Riley, again, driving his Southern California Sun into Pittsburgh territory. Pro set formation, Morosky under center. We've seen that pretty much most of this half. Here comes a deep pass to Kevin House. It's guessed wrong. It's guessed wrong, and this one's going to be a big gain. This one's going to be a big game. Morosky's going to find Kevin House, and he is going to take it to the house. Touchdown. Southern California Sun, a 43-yard connection from Morosky to Kevin House. The Steelers guessed run on that play, and the pass came up on Morosky's card as a long gain on a 5. And a 5 will get you 6, and that's your extra point for Matt Barr, who, for the unlikely reason, can connect on that 20-yarder, but could not connect on the 20-yarder that would have been 3 points in the first quarter. But regardless, the Southern California Sun have struck first blood and have taken the lead 7-0 over the Steelers in this summer sprint quarterfinal playoff game. So Ron Martin has to put one foot in front of the other before he even thinks about a touchdown. He needs to string together some first downs. His offense has been stymied thus far, but a lot of other teams felt the same way, as the Southern California Sun allow the fewest points in the league. So they do have a very stingy defense. Just for fun, let's take a look at it while they're picking their next play. So Southern California has the Raiders front 3. And that's, of course, Howie Long, his linebacker set. That's the New York Giants set with Harry Carson and Lawrence Taylor. And wow, look at that team. My goodness gracious. And then he drafted the Cleveland Browns defensive secondary, and that's Frank Minifield, who already has an interception in this game. So it looked like the game has locked. We will jump back in. So let's see how many plays we missed. Hopefully not too much. Maybe none. We're still trying to connect here. Well, it's first down ball at the 20, and we're still waiting to see. So they're having some connection problems here. Okay, let's get back at it. So Kenny under center for the Steelers, now trailing 7-0 to the Southern California Sun. The winner goes to the group of 4 into the semifinals of the Summer Sprint League 1985 card set we're using. They're asking if I'm here. I will tell them, yes, I am here. I think they're just wanting to make sure that the broadcast is still going. Okay. All right. So Southern California, as we noticed just a moment ago, that's the Raiders front line with Howie Long. That's the New York Giants linebacker set featuring Lawrence Taylor and Harry Carson. And that's the Cleveland Browns secondary. That 6 rated defender is Hanford Dixon, and that 5 over there is Frank Minifield, and he already has an interception. He does have some vulnerability at free safety, a 4, and strong safety, a 4. So here comes a pitch out to Ernest Bynard. His guessed incorrectly. Andre Reed was being double teamed. And Ernest Bynard's going to pick up some big yards as he sweeps to the right, and he's finally stopped at his own 47. So a 27-yard run for Ernest Bynard. That was only his second carry of the first half, so a nice pickup. As I knocked over my Pepsi One can. Fortunately, nothing was in it. Now Pittsburgh is making their way toward midfield, ball at their 47. This is an interesting formation. You do not see this one that often. That is a 2 running back, 3 wide set, so no tight end. I have to think they'd be extremely vulnerable for a blitz here. So let's see what they're going to run from this. You're really leaving yourself very vulnerable. I believe your run blockers go down by 1 on this, and maybe even your pass blockers too. But let's see what he's going to do with it. Here comes an off-tackle run to Curtis Dickey. And Dickey does pick up 2 on the play. Second down and 7. Now we're back to the standard formation. Ball at the 49 for the Steelers. Here comes an off-tackle run to Ernest Bynard. Defense guesses pass, so it's guessed wrong. Here we go. 7 yards for Bynard. And for the first time in the game, Pittsburgh has made their way into Southern California territory. Ball at the 44 of the Sun. 3rd down and 1. 9 minutes to play here in the second quarter. Southern California 12-4 in this regular season. Second best record overall for the 17 summer sprint teams facing off against 10-6 Pittsburgh. Ron Martin coaches Pittsburgh. James Riley coaches Southern California. The winner goes to the semifinals. 4 playoff games. This is the 4th. 3 already have been played. This is Dennis Crowley's league. He will update the website soon, and all the scores will be posted, and we'll know who will be in the Final 4 and whom will play whom. Here comes an inside run to Ernest Bynard. It is guessed correctly, but Bynard is able to nudge his way forward and pick up the first down. So the dreaded 5, which usually plagues, well, everybody. Bynard, however, does have a very strong card, and even guessed right. He picks up 4 yards on a 7. Even has a short gain on that card, too. He had a fine card. Look at that. Even on the 5 that usually nets most running backs 0, sometimes even a negative, and that's always the fumble chance as well. Biner is able to get a yard and get that first down. We'll see if James starts thinking maybe I'll start keying him and taking a risk on Steve Sewell, who I believe has only toe to the rock maybe once. Anyway, Pittsburgh does have another first down. Ball at the Southern California 43. Here comes Biner once again. This time they're passing to him, and that pass is completed. So Southern California guessed run, probably thinking that Biner was headed that way again, but this time Biner catches the Bill Kenny pass. It's good for 12 yards, and that'll give the Steelers the ball at the Southern California 31-yard line. 8 minutes to play here in the second quarter. Pittsburgh trailing 7-0. This time they come out in a 3-wide set. That's Jerry Butler along with Billy White Shoes Johnson and Andre Reed. No tight end. Instead, you've got Steve Sewell in the backfield along with Ernest Biner. Southern California counters with the 3-3-5. They're showing blitz. Here comes a draw to Ernest Biner. It's guessed wrong, but he only picks up 2 on the play. So 2nd down and 8. Biner so far, 5 carries, 41 yards. Included in that was a sweep on this drive that picked up 27 yards. The first big play for the Steelers in the entire game. We're midway through the second quarter. Steelers trailing 7-0, but driving. Ball at the 29-yard line of the Southern California Sun. Steve Sewell, Ernest Biner in the backfield. Pro set. Here comes a crossing pattern to Andre Reed. It's wrong, but the pass falls incomplete. Reed is not maxed out wrong on his card, but there are very few holes, and they just happen to find the one. There were 4 men in the zone, but that's pretty much a standard receiver reading, and a 7 on Reed's card is an incomplete pass. So bad break for Pittsburgh. Good call, bad break. 3rd down and 8 for the Steelers. Ball at the Pittsburgh 29. Excuse me, the Southern California Sun 29. So this time they're back in the 3-wide, 2 running back set. Kenny's in shotgun now. And, well, I just have to think that the Giants are going to bring the house on this play again. Here comes a pass to Jerry Butler, and it's caught. It's caught for a touchdown. He got a defender reading, and he was guarded by a 4, and Jerry Butler hauls in the Bill Kenny pass for 29 yards. 29 yards out, 29 yards on the card. That's exactly what he needed, not a yard more. And Jerry Butler, the 3rd wide receiver for the Steelers, and he comes up big, Bill Kenny, with that touchdown pass and that converted extra point by Gary Anderson, and we are knotted at 7. Now, this is a poor kick by Anderson that's taken at the 18 by Stephen Starring, and he takes it 29 yards out. So immediately Southern California has excellent field position with the ball at their own 47. So Southern California has had 2 scoring opportunities, and they've converted on 1. And that was a long pass from Morosky to Kevin House that put them up 7-0. They drove all the way to the Pittsburgh 3 midway in the first quarter, but was unable to convert when Matt Barr missed a 20-yard field goal. The game is knotted at 7. Morosky's first pass falls short. He is 5 of 12 in the first half, 74 yards. I believe 47 of them came on one play, that pass to Kevin House. who took it to the house, giving the Steelers the early 7-0 lead. But Pittsburgh counters on a 29-yard pass, scoring toss from Bill Kenny to Jerry Butler. So Pittsburgh scores and watches all that momentum disappear on a poor kick and a great return by Stephen Starring, but they've been able to hold strong here. 2 consecutive incomplete passes. Excuse me, 1 incomplete pass, and that was a rush by Eddie Lee Ivory that went for no gain. So they've been able to hold here. Ball at the Sun 47, James Riley, 12-4. Facing off against the Pittsburgh Steelers, 10-6, coached by Ron Martin. Here comes a pass. It's headed for Kevin House, and it falls incomplete. A defender X, or short gain. The White Day came up with a 5, and the Pittsburgh defensive back was able to make the play, and the Southern California Sun, wasting excellent field position, ball at their own 47, have to punt on a 3-and-out. That's a nice kick by Gossett, but it does not fall short. Can't stick it. It rolls into the end zone. Touchback. Pittsburgh decided not to take it, and the ball rolled into the end zone. So Ron Martin will take over. Just under 5 minutes to play here in the first half. Game knotted at 7. The Steelers, on their last drive, 2 big plays. Ernest Biner, 27-yard sweep, and Bill Kenny's scoring toss of 29 yards to former Buffalo Bill Jerry Butler. And this game is knotted at 7. So on their first play from scrimmage, here comes a deep pass to James Wright. And this pass is going to go for big yardage as well. Big yards as well. Look at this, 51 yards. That's tight end James Wright. So Bill Kenny, who was off to a very, very sluggish start, has come back in a big way, hitting tight end James Wright from the Denver Broncos for a 51-yard. A 51-yard reception. And now Pittsburgh is definitely in business at the Southern California 29. James Wright, not exactly a deep threat, really not a strong card at all in the long pass zone. But it doesn't matter when it falls on Bill Kenny's card, and he rolled boxcars. He does have 2 long gain chances on his card on 8 and 12, and this time he rolled a 12 and then got a nice pickup on the long gain chart for 51 yards. So Ron Martin, who trailed 7-0, now looks like he's in business, well on his way to getting into scoring range here for the Steelers. So we were locked out of the game for just a little bit, so I've got to log back in. Well, I'm trying to get back in. There we go. That's the second time we've been disconnected. It's been a very slow, sluggish first quarter. And we're still waiting to connect to the server. Boy, this first half has been very, very slow. And we finally connected. So that looked like a flat pass, but it lost 4 yards. That was it. Flat pass to Steve Sewell, and he lost 4 yards, which that may have knocked them out of field goal range. So 2nd down and 14 for Ron Martin and the Steelers. 3:35 to play here in the first half. On 2nd down, here comes another pass, this time to Steve Sewell once again, and Steve Sewell is able to haul it in. That's on Bill Kinney's card. That's a 16-yard pickup. So Kinney has really started to heat things up. He now is 6 for 14 with 118 yards passing. 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Nice reception for Sewell, who comes back from the previous play where he lost 4 on a flat pass. So 3 minutes to go here in the second quarter. Steelers driving, ball to the Southern California 17. Here comes a run to Ernest Biner, and he's successfully keyed by Southern California. Great call by James Riley, so he loses 2. So that'll bring up 2nd down and oh my gosh, that was scary. What was that noise? That would be an eBay noise. I got to turn that thing down. Somebody bought something. All right. Thank goodness for eBay, right? Why have rummage sales when you can get rid of stuff from 50 states? People all over the country will buy your useless junk. But this person didn't buy a useless piece of junk. This is a nice item, so I hope they enjoy it. Why, that would be my vintage Seattle Mariners Mitchell and Ness jersey, wouldn't you know it? And that would be Willie Horton. But that's not why we're here to talk about eBay. That was a run by Ernest Biner, and he loses 3. And that'll bring up 3rd and 13. For Pittsburgh. Ball at the 20, so they're definitely in field goal range here, but he would like to convert on this 3rd down. And again, Bill Kinney, despite his very slow start, he misfired on his first 5 passes. He has a very strong pass card, but this time he decides to play conservative, and he runs up the middle 4-5. Again, that was Ernest Biner. He just wants to set up a field goal here. And that's Gary Anderson. And Gary Anderson puts it through the pipes. And the Steelers have scored the last 10 points of the contest and have taken the lead in this summer sprint playoff game. 10-7 over the Southern California Sun. The winner joins the other 3 teams who already have played in the semifinals. We've had 3 playoff games already. This is the 4th and final of the quarterfinal round. The summer sprint competition includes a draft of the 1985 card season. And of course, the 1985 card season reflects the 1985 football year, which featured, I guess you would say, the Chicago Bears, 15-1 Bears, who defeated the New England Patriots 46-10 in the Super Bowl. So here we go. Here comes a pitch to Gary Ellis, and he's able to pick up 6 on the play, and he did not manage to get out of bounds. So Southern California, ball at their own 46. 2nd down and 4. Minute 30 to play. James Riley and the Southern California Sun trailing by 3 points. Here's a screen pass to Ellis. Screen pass Morawski, and that pass is picked off. The Steelers have picked this pass off. And let's see how far he can take it. He takes it all the way down to the 27-yard line. That pass, Morawski's second interception of the day. That one is picked off by Todd Shell, who returns it 20 yards. So the Steelers, who have all three of their timeouts left, have the ball at the Southern California 27. A minute 22 to play, so plenty of time here. Certainly in field goal range. So let's see how Todd Martin, my goodness gracious. Ron Martin. Let's see how Ron Martin plays it. Nothing fancy. This is the pro set offense. Biner and Steve Sewell in the backfield. Sewell, a 6-rated fullback. Ron Martin decides he's going to go 3-3-5, anticipating pass. And here comes a screen to Sewell. There is one man in the zone, so Martin didn't bring him. And that pass is completed, but they'll lose a yard on the play. But fortunately, he goes out of bounds, so they will preserve a timeout. 2nd down and 11. So Ron Martin banking on James Riley, bringing some heat and hoping there would be a vacated flat pass zone, but it didn't take place on that particular play. And that'll bring up 2nd down. Bill Kinney, who started the game 0 for 5, has completed 7 of his last 10 passes. He's thrown for 117 yards and a touchdown to Jerry Butler midway in the 2nd quarter. So 2nd down and 11, ball at the 28. And here comes a deep pass to Andre Reed. It's guessed right, but there's no man in the zone. But Kinney is flushed out of the pocket. He's not much for running, and this time he is sacked. That's a 2-yard loss, and that is Harry Carson, Hall of Famer. New York Giants Hall of Famer. Wow, what a linebacker set. You've got to be kidding me. Harry Carson, Carl Banks, and Lawrence Taylor. And Carl Banks was only a 4 that year. That's just outstanding. I believe that was Southern California's first pick, as I recall, was their linebacker set, the Giants linebacker set. Pittsburgh on 3rd and 13, ball at their own 30, comes out in that funky 3-wide, 2 running back set. Bill Kinney in shotgun. Now let's see if he's going to try another flat pass, anticipating a blitz, see if he can get him a vacated zone. And here comes a bomb again to Andre Reed, but that pass is going to fall incomplete. So risking a sack, he throws deep, but the pass falls incomplete. And that'll bring up 4th down, and that is Gary Anderson, who's going to try a 47-yard field goal with 45 seconds here in the 1st quarter. And that kick is going to be good. So Gary Anderson extends the Steelers' lead to 13-7. So Southern California will not have a lot of time here, but they will have the ball at their own 31 with 30 seconds to play. They do not have a timeout remaining. Well, they mark it at the 31. So 30 seconds to play here in the 2nd quarter. James Riley and his 12-4 Southern California son are trailing the visiting Pittsburgh Steelers 13-7. Pittsburgh Steelers, coached by Ron Martin, finished the season 10-6. Southern California Sun only allowed 198, I believe it was 192 points per game. I'm doing the math in my head. That's only about 12 or 13 points, and the Steelers have already gotten to that level. So here comes a run to Gary Ellis. He is able to make his way out of bounds. That's a pickup of 7, and that'll bring up second down at the 38. Warren Moon has checked into the game. For Morosky? No, I'm sorry. That was the I'm so sorry. That was a 4-wide set that the computer put out for Morosky's actually in the game. That's Gerald Carter, Minnesota Viking, Gerald Carter, Tampa Bay Buccaneer, along with Kevin House and Irving Fryer. Pittsburgh comes out 3-3-5. And here comes a pass to Todd Christensen, but it only picks up 2 yards, and then I'll bring up 3rd and 1. So 3rd and 1. Ball at the Southern California 40. I would imagine that James either, gosh, have we dropped? I don't think we've dropped. I would assume that James is going through his personnel trying to figure out who can get him a long gain on this 4th down. On this 3rd down, excuse me. Well, it's going to be Irving Fryer. Fryer is being double teamed. And that pass is going to fall incomplete. So we are going to go to halftime. And Southern California will get the ball to start the 3rd. And it looks like they're going to take a 5-minute break. So we are at the half of this summer sprint competition between Ron Martin and his 10-6 Pittsburgh Steelers against the 12-4 Southern California Sun. They're coached by James Riley. The score is 13-7. The highlights of the first half, there have been a couple of big bombs in this competition. Morosky is the quarterback for Southern California, and he hit Kevin House for a 47-yard bomb that gave Southern California the lead, 7-0. But Bill Kenny, who got off to a very slow start, also has some long-distance magic himself, including a 29-yard scoring toss to Jerry Butler. They gave them the lead, 7-7. Morosky's had a little bit of problems with interceptions. Actually, Kenny has an interception. They exchanged interceptions on consecutive plays, in fact. But Morosky had a flat pass that was also intercepted that led to a score, a field goal for Pittsburgh. After their touchdown, they were able to tack on two field goals, one of which, of course, was on an interception. Morosky is only 6 of 16 for 76 yards with that touchdown, but those two interceptions have been killers. Well, the one has certainly. So we don't have very much as far as statistics are concerned here in this half, really, to go by. Basically, turnovers have not been too much of a problem. It's only led to a score for one of these teams. Kenny was off to a lousy start, but he got hot late. Ernest Biner had a long gain of 27 yards. I guess the real story of this first half is Southern California, the stingiest defense in the league, allowing just over 12 points a game, already has allowed 13 to the Steelers, and the Steelers, whose defense has been pretty average, holding Southern California to 7 points. So Ron Martin has done an excellent job. Both clubs actually have done a very, very good job, but Ron Martin, certainly on defense, is playing excellent, coaching a great game, a conservative game, from the defensive standpoint, not taking too many chances. On offense, he's throwing bombs like crazy, and he hasn't really been punished for it except once on a Dirk Minifield interception. But for the most part, they fall into the turf. And he did get one completion deep to Jerry Butler, Buffalo Bills wide receiver, and that led to a score. So again, the halftime score is 13-7, and unfortunately, I am going to have to drop out of this broadcast as I have some commitments at 10 o'clock. I'm going to try to see if anybody else wants to pick up this broadcast if they want, but at this point, I do have to leave, so I'm sorry I've got to leave this game at the half. Unfortunately, I got off to a late start, and that's where we find ourselves here. So the game is paused. I've got to jump back in. But I'm going to leave this to video so that you will be able to watch the rest of this broadcast. I do want everyone to see the rest of this broadcast, so I'm going to go ahead and present it. As soon as I can press all the right buttons here. I apologize. I know this broadcast does sound kind of jumpy. We got off to a late start, unfortunately, with this. And the game has dropped 3, maybe 4 times, unfortunately. And, of course, that's not the coach's fault. It's just the server that just does not want to cooperate. But we, as Strat fans, we already know that. So we're waiting to connect to this game. Again, this is the Summer Sprint Playoffs. And it includes the 1985 card set. Southern California, the second best record in the league, 12-4 for the season, are trailing Ron Martin and his Pittsburgh Steelers, who finished 10-6. Southern California is trailing the Steelers 13-7. So we're waiting the screen animation to come up. And here we go. So Pittsburgh will take over at their own 18. And that's a nice pass once again to James Wright. So Kenny hits on another deep pass. I should have mentioned that James Wright had a nice big reception early. That pass there is completed. Another deep pass, that one for 40 yards. Wright earlier had another completion for 51 yards. So that's 2 catches for 91 yards for James Wright, tight end of the Denver Broncos. Not exactly known as a deep threat, but this time with no man in the zone, he rolls a 2, and that'll pick up 40 yards. So I am going to leave this broadcast, but I am going to keep my fingers crossed like anything that this broadcast is going to continue, especially because there's been 2 drops already in this, actually 3 drops. So fingers crossed that we do finish this contest. That is another completed pass to James Wright, and look at that. That's 3 receptions for 104 yards. So we are finding Bill Kinney's favorite target. So I apologize for having to leave this broadcast, but I am going to go. So again, the score is 13-7 Pittsburgh, and they are driving ball at the Southern California Sun 29-yard line. Here comes a pass to White Shoes Johnson. Oh, and that pass is incomplete. That very easily could have been intercepted. So again, thank you so much for listening to this broadcast. I apologize that I do have to leave, but I do have a commitment. I wish you well, and I wish both of these teams the very best. And as soon as this broadcast is completed, I will edit it and put it online. Again, keep your fingers crossed that we're actually able to make it through the rest of the game for 27 minutes, as the game has dropped a couple of times. I do apologize. I have to leave, but I wish everyone the best. Take care. Yeah. Who fell asleep? You fell asleep? Oh. Let's do it tomorrow. There's nobody to go play. Huh? Yeah, let's do it tomorrow. I don't feel good at all. What I was doing, there's a football game tonight that I was broadcasting, and it's football league. I mean, they're playing online, and I've got the game on here, and I was basically doing the live broadcast on YouTube. And the game was supposed to start at 8, and it didn't start until like 9 or something. Jeez. And then the worst thing is, like, these 2 guys are playing as if it's like they're just wildly slow. It's like the Russians and Americans playing chess. It's just so crazy slow. And the server dropped twice, and it's just been just a nightmare. Well, I mean, we're just at the half. We just started the second half. This is going to take another hour. So I left the broadcast. I said, guys, I got to go. I said, I hope this thing stays online, and I hope the game goes from beginning to end, but I'm not even sure if we're going to make it. Anyway, I mean, yeah, I don't care to go down there and shoot, but it doesn't matter. I don't care. There's like nobody else is going to be. I'll go down there shooting. Oh yeah, I don't care. I'm not doing anything. If you want to go down there and shoot, I'll go down there. And then Christian can take you home. Or yeah, Christian can just bring you home. But you're not staying over there. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna get you over there. No. think you called like 30 playoff games today. Period. I was in the middle of one right now, but it got off to a really bad start. Period. 75-minute delay. Plus, it's dropped 4 connections. Period. Anyway, I had a commitment at 10 o'clock, and I've got to leave the broadcast. Period. Dennis asked if you would like to pick it up, but I thought, forget it. There's no way he's got time to do this. Period. So if you can't come, don't worry about it. Period. I'm just leaving the recording on, and hopefully they can make it to the end of the game. Period. But if you want to join, I can send you the Hangouts link. time, they prepare you with that sort of bit. And every once in a while it goes nuts. But for the most part, you pretty much stay on the game. But for the most part, you stay on the game. I was able to get out of school. Like a couple times I got out of school. But for the most part, it's been like that shit. Probably because the rest of the family sees him now. Yep, so the game froze.